The world shattered into a wild swirl of motion. My heart, which moments ago had frozen solid, now hammered a frantic rhythm against my ribs. It was a desperate drumbeat against the silence of impending doom. Damien's powerful body, a blur of dark fur and raw alpha strength, lunged forward. He put himself between Isabella's deadly attack and our son. The glint of that wolfsbane-laced silver blade plunged, and I watched helpless as it found its target. A sickening thud echoed through the Moonstone Caves, instantly swallowed by the roar of the ongoing battle. Isabella's blade, meant for Elias, had found a new target, Damien. His howl of pain was primal, a sound that ripped through the chaos and tore at something deep inside my soul. He crumpled, his massive form falling directly in front of Elias. He was a shield protecting our son with his own body. The wolfsbane, an insidious poison to shifters, began its work almost immediately. I could see his muscles twitching, his breath catching, and a cold sweat breaking out across his fur. It was brutal, swift, and horrifying. He hit the ground hard, a heavy, unmoving weight, his eyes already glazing over. Isabella stood over him, her face twisted in triumph and chilling satisfaction. The poison blade was still clutched tightly in her hand. "He made his choice," she snarled, her eyes burning with a desperate, wild glee. "Now you are truly unprotected, little Alpha." Her gaze, hard and cold, snapped back to Elias. Her intention was clear: finish what she started. She wanted to erase the evidence of her failure and the living threat to her lost place. She lunged, a swift, practiced move honed by years of backroom plotting and cunning ambition. But Elias, quick as lightning, was no longer caught off guard. The sight of Damien's sacrifice, the raw, primal bond of blood asserting itself, ignited a fierce, inherited fury within him. Before Isabella could lunge again, Elias was on her. He was a golden blur of pure alpha power. Their clash was brutal, a desperate dance of fangs and claws. Isabella, driven by her barrenness and her fear of being nothing, fought with a cunning born of desperation. She clawed, bit, and dodged with a fierce intensity, fueled by the conviction that Elias's life was the only thing standing between her and utter ruin. Elias, fueled by outrage and a primal need to protect the father he was only just discovering, unleashed the raw, untamed power of his Ashwood lineage. His golden eyes blazed, reflecting a fury that matched his biological father's, a silent promise of retribution. My own power, the ability to command other alphas, surged inside me. The urge to force Isabella to yield, to freeze her in her tracks, was overwhelming. My mind screamed for that release, to end the brutal fight. But even as I felt the dangerous energy build, I knew the cost. Such a direct mental attack in the middle of battle could accidentally affect Elias, maybe breaking his focus or even hurting him. Or worse, it could hurt Caleb and my Silver Moon warriors who were fighting so bravely nearby. I had to maintain control. Instead, I channeled my power more subtly. I focused it on the remaining vampires, using powerful mental suggestions to sow confusion among their ranks. I made them stumble, caused them to fight each other, and created crucial openings for our struggling pack. It was an indirect tactic, but it was effective. Caleb, always watchful, a blur of silver fur and fierce loyalty, reached Damien first. His face, usually so calm, was twisted with shock and grief as he knelt beside his fallen alpha. "Damien!" he roared, pulling the wolfsbane-laced blade from his side. The poison was already taking its toll. Damien's usually vibrant dark fur was turning patchy gray, his golden eyes dulling to a murky amber. He was fighting, but losing. His strong body spasmed from the toxins invading his bloodstream. His breaths became shallow, ragged gasps. Then, with a shudder, he went utterly still. His eyes glazed over, fixed on nothing. His chest, which had been heaving just moments before, stopped moving. The faint hum of his life force, the powerful presence of his wolf, flatlined. He wasn't breathing. My mate, the alpha I had loved and hated, was gone. The tide of the main battle began to turn decisively in our favor. The vampires, confused by my subtle commands and battered by our now focused warriors who fought with renewed purpose, started to retreat. Their ancient forms dissolved into shadow. Their main goal, the systematic killing of alpha bloodlines, had been stopped, at least for now. But the personal battle, the one that truly mattered, the one for Damien's seemingly lost life and Elias's future, was still raging. Elias fought with the fierce anger of a cornered animal, driven by pure rage. But Isabella was older, more experienced in brutal pack politics and dirty fighting. She aimed for weak spots, for tendons, for the throat. Her movements were cruel, without honor. A deep cut appeared on Elias's flank, crimson staining his golden fur. My heart seized in my chest. He was bleeding, my boy was bleeding. And Caleb, usually by Elias's side, was now bent over Damien's lifeless form. "No!" I roared, letting go of any pretense of control. The despair and terror of seeing Damien fall, mixed with Elias's injury, unleashed a raw, untamed power within me. I lunged towards Isabella, my own silver wolf a blur of protective fury and ancient vengeance. I tackled her off Elias, sending her sprawling across the cavern floor, her poisoned blade skittering uselessly away. My fangs snapped inches from her throat, a stark warning, a chilling promise. "You will never touch my son again." My voice, amplified by my grief and fury, resonated with an alpha command that forced her wolf into instant submission. Isabella scrambled back, fear finally dawning in her eyes as she met my enraged gaze. She saw not just me, the rejected mate, but the years of my quiet suffering, the raw strength I had forged in exile, and the formidable Luna I had become. She saw the true alpha blood raging in my son, and the undeniable depth of the bond that tied us. Her desperate ambition had blinded her, but now, faced with my wrath, she understood her profound mistake. She whimpered, a sound of utter defeat, and collapsed onto her haunches, her head bowed in involuntary submission. The remaining Ashwood and Silver Moon warriors, their faces grim, gathered around us, forming a silent circle. The last of the vampires had fled, leaving the cavern eerily quiet except for the ragged breathing of the wounded. All eyes were on me, on Isabella, and on the fallen Alpha Damien. The internal conflict that had simmered for so long had finally boiled over, exposed for all to see. My gaze snapped to Damien. Caleb was still there, frantically working over him. "He's not breathing, Maya." Caleb's voice was hoarse with desperation. The words hit me like a physical blow. "No, not again. Not after all this." My mate bond, which had felt so vibrant moments before, now screamed with agonizing silence. It was like a vital part of me had just been ripped away. I stumbled towards Damien, pushing through the last bits of adrenaline from the battle. He lay still, his massive body a dark, unmoving shadow against the cavern floor. His golden eyes were wide and unseeing, staring at the cavern ceiling. My hands, trembling uncontrollably, reached for his chest. Cold. Too cold. I frantically searched for a pulse in his neck, in his wrist. Nothing. My heart shattered into a million pieces. "The antidote, Caleb. Where is it?" My voice was a desperate whisper. "I gave it to him, Maya." Caleb cried, tears streaming down his face. "It's wolfsbane. It takes time. But he's gone." His voice broke on the last word, filled with utter despair. "No!" I roared, a primal scream of denial that echoed off the cave walls. I shifted to my human form, pulling his massive wolf head onto my lap, cradling him. The coldness of his fur, the absolute stillness of his body, was a terrifying confirmation. I pressed my ear to his chest. No heartbeat. Nothing. No breath. No sign of life. The surrounding wolves were silent, their despair a heavy wave that washed over me. Even Elias, who had finished with Isabella and rushed to his father's side, stood frozen, his young face pale with shock, his eyes wide and scared. They believed he was lost. They believed he was dead. But I refused. I refused to let him go. Not now. Not after he had finally chosen us. Not after 18 years of pain and a fleeting moment of hope. Memories flooded my mind. His public rejection, the agonizing loneliness, the miracle of Elias, the long years of rebuilding, his desperate fight to save our son, his sacrifice. This couldn't be the end. This couldn't be how our story finished. "Damien!" I sobbed, my voice raw, torn from the deepest part of my soul. "Fight it! Come back! Please come back to me!" I closed my eyes, focusing every ounce of my unique power, not on commanding, not on influencing, but on begging. I poured my very essence into the mate bond, desperately trying to find a flicker of his life, a thread to pull him back from the darkness. I pictured the vibrant gold of his eyes, the deep rumble of his laugh, the warmth of his skin against mine. I envisioned the future we could have, the family we could finally be, a whole family, with him at its head. I pushed every memory, every hope, every ounce of my love into that silent bond, willing him to live. My own life felt like it was draining into him, giving him strength. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The silence of Damien's body was deafening. The cold of his fur seeped into my bones, a terrifying cold. The Ashwood warriors began to whimper, their heads bowing low in mourning for their fallen alpha. Elias dropped to his knees beside me, his hand clutching Damien's limp paw, tears streaming down his face. He was whispering, "Dad, don't go. Please." Then, just as all hope seemed to drain from the cavern, a faint hum, almost imperceptible, vibrated through my hand resting on his chest. It was the mate bond, barely a whisper, a tiny spark of warmth, but it was there. A thread of life, faint but present, pulling at my soul. A ragged gasp tore from Damien's lungs. His body, which had been unnaturally still, shuddered. His golden eyes, which had been fixed and lifeless, fluttered open. A faint, almost imperceptible breath hitched in his throat. He gasped again, then a more powerful, racking cough. He was breathing. He was truly breathing. His eyes, though still clouded with the lingering effects of the wolfsbane, found mine. He was back. He was alive. I collapsed onto his chest, sobbing with a relief so profound it threatened to consume me. Elias wrapped his arms around both of us, his own body shaking with spent emotion, clinging to his father, murmuring, "You came back. You came back." The Ashwood warriors let out a unified roar of acceptance, a sound that spoke of burdens lifted, of clarity in leadership, of a future finally free from deceit and despair. Their alpha had returned from the brink, a true miracle, a testament to a bond that refused to break. The reckoning and healing. The tense quiet that followed Damien's fall had been suffocating. Isabella, battered and bruised but alive, lay cowering before me. Her political scheming and desperate ambition were stripped bare. The Ashwood warriors, who had once looked up to her, now looked upon her with a mixture of disgust and shame. They had seen her betrayal, her willingness to sacrifice their alpha's heir, in the heat of battle. Such an act was an unforgivable sin in werewolf society, a breach of every sacred code. Damien, his powerful frame still shaking from the wolfsbane, but now breathing, pushed himself to a sitting position, leaning heavily on Caleb. His golden eyes, though still slightly glazed, fixed on Isabella. His voice, though rough with pain and weakness, carried undeniable authority, echoing through the cavern. "Isabella," he rasped, each word a hammer blow of finality. "You have betrayed the pack. You have sought to murder our heir and Luna. Such a crime is unforgivable. Our bond is severed. You are no longer Luna of Ashwood. You are cast out." The words, so stark, so absolute, ripped through the silent cavern. It was a public rejection, a brutal, undeniable mirror of the one he had inflicted upon me 18 years ago. Only this time it was an act of profound justice, a declaration born not of political convenience, but of genuine loyalty and love. Isabella let out a strangled cry, her once proud posture crumbling into dust. She scrambled to her feet, her eyes wide with a desperate, raw fear, and fled, a desperate, broken figure vanishing into the shadows of the cave, leaving behind the chilling silence of her shame. A wave of relief, potent and overwhelming, washed through the gathered packs. Elias, bruised but whole, stood by Caleb's side, his eyes wide, absorbing the gravity of the moment, the swift, brutal justice. The Ashwood warriors, released from their imposed neutrality, let out a unified roar of acceptance, a sound that spoke of burdens lifted, of clarity in leadership, of a future finally free from deceit and despair. I stayed by Damien's side, my old pain warring with a confusing wave of relief and a strange, budding tenderness. Elias, after his own minor wounds were tended, came in, his golden eyes scrutinizing his biological father, a mix of curiosity and something akin to a growing protective instinct. The conversation was strained, filled with unspoken questions and years of separation. Caleb, always present, always my rock, eased the tension, allowing a tentative bridge to form between father and son, guiding them through the awkwardness with gentle humor. He shared stories of Elias's childhood, a bridge of common ground for Damien to step onto. In the days that followed, the healers worked tirelessly, and Damien's recovery, though slow, was steady. He remained weak for days, sleeping heavily, his wolf still fighting the residual effects of the potent wolfsbane. I often found myself sitting by his side, watching his chest rise and fall, a silent guardian. I'd tend to his wounds, applying salves and changing bandages, the closeness feeling both familiar and incredibly new. As the wolfsbane fully left his system, his true strength returned, albeit slowly. The physical wounds healed, but the emotional ones, for all of us, remained. The council meetings continued, now with a new sense of purpose, a palpable shift towards genuine cooperation. The Ashwood and Silver Moon packs, once rivals, were now unequivocally united, their joint forces a formidable deterrent against any future vampire attacks, a powerful testament to collective strength. They trained together, shared resources, and began to build actual friendships between wolves who were once sworn enemies. My relationship with Damien, however, was far more complex. He sought me out constantly, his golden eyes pleading for understanding, for a second chance, for forgiveness. He spoke of his profound regret, not just for my public rejection, but for the immense political pressures he had faced. He told me about his manipulative father's influence, how his father had threatened the Ashwood Pack's very future if he didn't comply with the Frostclaw alliance. He spoke of the crushing weight of believing he had made the only choice for his pack's survival, even if it meant sacrificing his own happiness and, unknowingly, rejecting his true mate. He confessed the torment of watching Elias grow up from afar, seeing his undeniable lineage in the boy's strength and spirit, knowing he had no claim. He laid bare his soul, revealing a vulnerability and self-awareness I had never imagined existed beneath his alpha facade. He showed me the depth of his shame, the raw pain of his sacrifice, and the terror of almost losing the chance to atone. I listened, my walls slowly, painstakingly beginning to crumble. The sexual tension that had simmered between us now blazed, undeniable and potent, a constant hum beneath the surface of our conversations. Our fated mate bond, dormant for so long, pulsed with a longing that defied reason and logic, a deep, undeniable pull that called to my very core. Yet forgiveness was not easily given. I had built a powerful life without him. I had forged my own path, raised Elias, with Caleb's unwavering support, into the magnificent wolf he was today. My Silver Moon pack revered me. Damien had to earn my trust. He had to prove that his choice, this time, was genuine and absolute, that it wasn't born of desperation or political convenience. And earn it he did. He did not demand, he asked. He did not order, he pleaded. He deferred to my judgment in strategic matters, publicly acknowledging my prowess as an alpha, frequently seeking my counsel. He spent hours with Elias, not forcing a connection, but simply being there, listening to his youthful stories, offering guidance only when asked, respecting the profound bond Elias had with Caleb. He patiently answered Elias's confused questions about his lineage, about his past, about the meaning of fated mates, navigating the complicated emotional landscape with a newfound humility and genuine warmth. He sought out Caleb, not with jealousy, but with genuine gratitude, acknowledging Caleb's indispensable role in raising his son, forging an unexpected respect between them. It was a testament to his profound and genuine change, a true metamorphosis from the boy he once was. One moonlit evening, several weeks after the battle, Damien found me by the river, alone, gazing at the reflections on the water. The night air was cool, the water a silver ribbon under the rising moon. He approached cautiously, his wolf radiating a quiet reverence, a humble plea. "Maya," he said, his voice rough with emotion, raw with the weight of years of unspoken words. "I know I don't deserve this. I know I broke you. I broke us. But if you could ever find it in your heart, to truly forgive me, to give us a second chance, to be what we were always meant to be. My heart ached. The raw honesty in his eyes, the humility in his posture, it was a stark contrast to the arrogant alpha who had rejected me so brutally 18 years ago. I saw the promise of a future, a true partnership, a love that could heal old wounds, a family united. But I still hesitated. My sun, my Luna status, my silver moon pack, I had earned all of it through my own strength and resilience. I wouldn't give it up lightly, not even for the man who was my fated mate. Damien, I said, my voice soft but firm, a strength born of hard-won wisdom. You hurt me. You hurt Elias. You almost cost us everything. I watched his face fall, his golden eyes clouded with despair, ready for my final rejection. But, I continued, you also saved our son. You chose us. And for that, I will give you a chance. His head snapped up, hope blazing in his eyes, a desperate, brilliant flame. He reached for me, his hand trembling slightly. Our fingers intertwined, and a familiar, comforting warmth spread through me, a current of calm reassurance. It wasn't the fiery, overwhelming passion of 18 years ago, not yet. It was something deeper, something earned, something stronger, a quiet acceptance of a shared future. A second chance, a new dawn. The second chance mating ceremony was not a grand political affair like the one that had shattered my world. This time, it was held under the full moon, in a clearing sacred to both the Ashwood and Silver Moon packs, a place of ancient power and new beginnings. It was witnessed by only our closest family and trusted betas, a testament to a bond built on genuine connection, not political expediency. Elias stood proudly beside Damien, his golden eyes shining with newfound acceptance and a growing sense of belonging. Caleb, ever loyal, stood beside me, his hand on my shoulder in a gesture of enduring love and unwavering support, a true father figure who had accepted Damien's return with grace. Damien's vows were not cold, calculated pronouncements. They were raw, heartfelt promises of unwavering loyalty, of shared burdens, of a love that defied fate and healed old wounds. He spoke of his profound regret, his unending devotion, and his fierce commitment to our family, to me, to Elias, and to the bonds we chose to forge. My own vows were simple, yet powerful, affirming my choice to forge a future built on truth and forgiveness, to embrace the love that had defied all odds. As Damien sank his teeth into my neck, a gentle, tender claim, marking me as his Luna, the fated mate bond exploded, not with the abrupt shock of a first claim, but with a gentle, all-encompassing warmth, a complete union of two souls forever bound. It was a love forged in battle, tempered by loss, and redeemed by choice. The next few months were a whirlwind of adjustments. Elias, having witnessed Damien's public atonement and consistent efforts, slowly began to accept Damien as his real father. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but a gradual process of shared hunts, late-night conversations under the stars, and mutual respect that grew with every shared experience. Caleb remained a beloved parental figure, a testament to the idea that family could be chosen, that bonds could be formed beyond blood, that love was expansive enough for all. Elias, with his dual heritage and strong alpha aura, became the bridge between the Ashwood and Silver Moon packs, a powerful symbol of their unity and a future free from old animosities. He spent time training with both Damien and Caleb, learning the best of both leadership styles and bringing their techniques into harmony. The united packs, now stronger than ever, their combined territories stretching from the Appalachian foothills to the Pacific coastline, became a formidable force in the region. Damien and I, as the alpha couple, led with a unique blend of traditional strength and progressive insight, balancing ancient laws with innovative solutions. We faced the returning vampire threat not just with military might, but with strategic alliances forged through trust, and a wisdom born of our own trials and shared pain. Our leadership was not one of dominance, but of partnership, built on earned trust, compassion, and a powerful, undeniable bond. Our packs flourished under this new joint leadership, thriving in peace and prosperity rarely seen in werewolf history. I, Maya, the once rejected servant, now stood as Luna of the unified Pax, a queen beside her king, a mother to her powerful son. My journey had been long, marked by heartbreak and hardship, but it had led me to a love that was true, a family that was whole, and a power that was truly my own. The future was uncertain, full of challenges, as new threats would inevitably rise, but we would face them together, a united front against any darkness. Our story was a testament that even the deepest scars could heal, and that love, once rejected, could return stronger than ever. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss our next video.